Hello everyone, my name is Aaron and welcome back to the Flat Chat podcast. This is part 2 of the podcast we were doing just the other day with the Premier League team of the season, and this one is now our Premier League awards show. So we're going to be looking at a couple of categories. The boys are back with me.
Hello.
Right. he just says alright in such an unnatural way in that as well. So basically what it is, guys, we're going to have a wee look at some Premier League awards for you. So we've got the standard ones, you've got your player of the season, your young player of the season, but we've also got flop of the season, we have manager of the year, we have our surprise star, and we have signing of the season, and of course our surprise team of the season. So if you enjoy the podcast at any point, feel free to leave a like on it and subscribe, and we may as well just get started then. So we'll start no time at the present with the player of the season. So this is probably the big one that ever do. Well, I was going to say wants to win, but that would imply this award is something that you want to win. This is just a YouTube podcast for fun. But anyway, so do any of you boys have a particular preference of wanting to go first for the player of the season, or are you just happy to just throw the floor to...
I'll start because I've gone for the easy one. I've gone for the player that did end up winning the player of the season. I've gone for Kevin De Bruyne. It is a toss up between one of two players.
Yeah.
Mo Salah or Kevin De Bruyne. And I mean, Salah's got the stats, but I can't excuse the fact that he just went missing the second half of the season. Which, I mean, they still were winning game after game after game with that. But for me, yeah, Kevin De Bruyne just oozes class, and it's just a personal preference. I completely understand the Salah shout, and I do also believe that another shout could have been put in there for Heung-min Son, but again, he gets Golden Boot reward. So Kevin De Bruyne for me is my player of the season. I'm going to agree with the public on that one. And
was that actually voted for by the public?
Is it vote for the public? Is it a panel that do it?
I was going to say Callum Porter, a man of the people.
I feel it was it was a panel, and
I've got a feeling
they actually gave it to the two Man City people just to shut Pep up.
Yeah.
Just imagining Pep raging going into the PFA Awards, just like, why are you not fucking nominating my players?
well, he did say there was a Liverpool bias.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a few weeks ago he said that. And they're like, yeah, maybe that did happen.
Yeah.
But no, Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, for me, yeah, Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Peggy?
I've gone for Mohamed Salah.
Cool.
I just think if you've got the most goals and assists, you have to win player of the season. He did have a pretty terrible last 3 months.
Yeah.
Losing AFCON, losing out World Cup qualifiers with Egypt.
Yeah, maybe that did dent his confidence. I think it's actually quite interesting seeing how AFCON affected the players that were...
Well, Mane came back from winning it and going to the World Cup, and he
did well.
Yeah.
But then Mendy came back and I think he was a bit iffy.
It was a bit iffy before it as well.
That's true.
But
I think it'll be very interesting and to see this a wee bit of an insight into how the World Cup will affect the Premier League season. Players like I think you again mentioned to me the other day about how Haaland, now that Man City, he's not even going to the World Cup.
Exactly, he's going to
my boy Martin Odegaard doesn't either. So, but no, it'd be interesting. There's so many players in the Premier League will be going to the World Cup, though. I think it'll affect everyone. But yeah, Kevin De Bruyne for me, Salah for Heggie.
Do you get anything to add on?
Well, basically, all I'm going to add on is I'm not going to be invited to any Manchester City events because I have also gone for Mohamed Salah.
Well, you were invited to the Liverpool events in the first part.
No, you're not think you're invited to anyone's events.
Exactly. I think every single Premier League club has just got me on some kind of blacklist now and that as well, so it's fine. But I'm way Heggie in that one as well. You can't deny the stats, and even in the second half of the season when he had admittedly a pretty bad second half of the season, every time he came on for Liverpool in the last couple of games, he made a difference. He's one of those difference maker players that even if he has a particularly bad game, I feel like he can still kind of say he still did put in an assist.
It just attracts defenders to him, and it creates space for the other attackers. That's his best attribute. I think.
His best attribute is he knows where the goal is.
Yeah, but he's not been scoring in the last few months.
Yeah. No, I cannot argue. It was either or for me.
It's a fair enough shout, either or. I think Son's a good shout as well.
Yeah.
I think there is another few players.
I'd say for me, I actually had a top 5 set out in my head. I think it was those 3 players, and the other 2 were the 2 fullbacks from Liverpool, Cancelo and Trent. For me, were the top 5. I'd say for this season. And I think De Bruyne, and I think the top 2. It could have been Salah. Honestly, I had Salah written down, and I've changed it to De Bruyne. I just personal preference.
I think you can also give a shout for Alisson.
Yeah.
The amount of big moments he's had this season.
For him, it's like he doesn't face as many shots as other clubs do, but but the shots he faces tend to be one-on-ones because of the high line that Liverpool play, and his one-on-one save percentage is just it's crazy.
It's mental.
He's so good. Alisson's a very, very good shout there.
Yeah. If it was like a top 6, those would be the shout.
I could completely agree with that there. It's a good shout.
Of course.
So we're going to move on from player of the season. We've had Salah, De Bruyne there. Onto the young player of the season, which I'm sure we all actually disagree with what the PFA players, the young player of the year, was given to. I think Phil Foden, a bit of a. I think he's a bit out there.
He's had a good season.
But.
And also, like, did you see the stat that he's like how many trophies he's won at the age of 21 with Man City?
Yeah.
He's won like 11 trophies at the age of 21. Like,
he is at Man City though.
Aye, but he's still part of a Man City team. He still has to put in
when Foden plays as well for City, I think he is a standout player. He just looks the best on the ball for City.
You say that over Mahrez?
Mahrez,
come on, he's one of the best on the ball players.
I think he is one of the best on the ball players on his day, but this season he's been a bit stinky.
Yeah. He's the top scorer.
He's not been playing well
though. Also, you'd like to hope that in the fervour that is the World Cup here, as they often do, and no disrespect to England fans here as well, but hopefully like he hasn't put on like too much pressure to have like this amazing World Cup and that as well.
With England, I think they've got so many of those players now. I mean, it feels like back 15-20 years ago when they had all that golden generation. I feel like that might be starting up again.
This is the golden generation for England.
It's the next one. They definitely have had a period there for about 10 years or so where they've just not had the players, and it's.
They've stagnated.
Now I think they do have a lot of players coming through.
There's only one position where they are weak, and it's centre back.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Every other position they're so stacked.
Yeah.
Centre mid, they've got 6 starters they could play.
Yeah.
Left wing, they've got 3 or 4. Yeah. Right wing, they've got 3 or 4. Up front, obviously, they don't need 3 or 4 because they've got Kane.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that focal point that they've got there as well. Like England are just solid. So back to the actual sort
young
of award.
Season. Aaron, want to go first?
Shout out to the man Danny Allens, but give me a ginger from Sweden. I've gone from Kulusevski.
Oh,
right, okay.
I do rate that.
That's a cracking shout.
Why he wasn't picked over Foden, I don't know. I understand. Okay, let's paraphrase that. I understand why they've looked at Foden's season for Manchester City and they've gone.
No, I'll tell you exactly why they didn't put him in the award, because he joined halfway through the season.
Yeah.
If there was a half-season award, it might have got it.
Yeah.
He joined in January. He couldn't really be included in the.
I understand that, but at the same time, like with obviously set an example. I'm going to expose what team I support here. Like, there was a few players in my clubs, not my English clubs, not Leeds United, my other clubs.
What's your other club, Alan?
Celtic, the champions of Scotland. So, but there was a lot of arguments made in our sort of player of the season awards for Matt O'Reilly getting that, even though he only joined in January. I think that same sort of logic that I thought got Matt O'Reilly into that would have applied to Kulusevski for Spurs. I think for the half season he's had, I think he's done more than enough to deserve a justification, and if he doesn't get player of the season next season, and I think young player of the season next season, thank you for that. If he doesn't get young player of the season next season, then I don't know what he has to do. Does he have to cure cancer or something?
No, remember,
he's got to play well next season as well.
But next season, he won't get young player of the season because without Erling Haaland, will we get young player of the season?
What age is Haaland?
21,
yeah.
That's mental every time I think about that. By the way, like Haaland's 21.
I know.
Haaland is 21.
Do you think Man City are unstoppable when Haaland joins?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even think Liverpool get anywhere near them.
I don't think they do either. I think Man City will run away with it next year.
I think Man City will win it again. Yeah. I think
they didn't run away with it this year, but.
I don't know if they run away with it. I think you've got to do a lot to still beat this Liverpool team. I think how can they get that much better, Man City?
By adding a striker.
But Liverpool are also like they're mentality monsters. They know that Man City are doing what they're doing and winning games And then
I wondered how
Liverpool
long it was going to take for that phrase to appear in this podcast. The mentality monster phrase.
I mean,
that we've heard about all the time.
I mean, that's what they are. But anyway, back to our young player of the season, Heggie. When I go, give us yours.
Well, I went for Trent.
I also went for Trent.
Okay, fair enough. So two Trents. Can't argue with that really. But Trent's just been solid. Like
he's got 12 assists in the league. Second most he's ever had. He's had a 13 and a 12 as well before in the last couple of seasons.
I think Trent is the obvious choice.
Yeah,
it was in for player of the year as well.
My other potential young player of the season was Declan Rice, but I thought Trent pips into this one.
Yeah,
he's just so good. Some of the passes he makes they're unbelievable. And then he works so well in that Liverpool system where he's allowed to push up high. He's not really, he is a right back, but he's playing so high up the pitch.
Do you think he'll transition into either a right mid or a centre mid?
He could do. I think Reece James is another one that could do that. Of course,
Reece James was a centre mid.
At Wigan he played at centre mid for quite a large part of that.
But I was going to say I don't have any sort of complaints. There's nothing else you can really say about that as well. That's
Trent, yeah.
Trent Kulusevski. So
fair enough, yeah. And we're going to continue on with our flop of the season. I mean, a negative one.
Of course. See, for me, this one was pretty obvious as to who I thought.
I thought it was pretty obvious as well. But I did have a few that I wanted to mention. And again, it's actually very. So I want to start this one off.
There you go.
One for me that I would say the reason he doesn't get in is because of the half season thing that we just mentioned there, where he's only played half the season. And as an Arsenal fan, it hurts me to say it, but Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang for me was a serious flop of the season. We needed a striker.
I forgot he even played for you this season.
Yeah, I know. I thought you would. I thought he was a big flop.
Long season.
He's been a big flop this season. I think another big flop this season has been that you probably won't mention will be Weghorst at Burnley.
Weghorst.
I think he was expected to come in and and they've ended up going down, but he's come in and the big games that mattered at the end of the season. Barnes was playing. Yeah. He was coming getting subbed off. I think he's been a bit of a flop signing, and I thought he'd be good. He started off doing well. He looks good when he played Man United, which everyone does. I think that'll carry us on quite nicely onto my flop of the season. Harold Maguire.
Oh, okay. You've got
Harry Maguire. Yeah.
You've gone different tack to me then.
No, let's talk about Harry Maguire.
Well, we'll talk about Harry Maguire first.
I mean, Harry Maguire, he's been dreadful. I think he has. But you look at his average match rating as well throughout the season. It's ridiculous how bad he's been, and he's the captain.
Yeah.
I think
80 million.
I think the weight of being captain and the weight of the price tag all doesn't help. I think the pressure's got to him. But after being injured and then coming back into the Euros team for England and playing really well, having a good tournament. They got to the final, thankfully didn't win, but that's his opinion. I'm Scottish, that's what it is. But and then this season he's just been dreadful. He's been a big part of why Man United have been so bad. And he's been dreadful. He's now been dropped out, hasn't he? I don't know if he'll get back in with Ten Hag.
I was going to ask you that as well. Do you see a future for him under Ten Hag?
I do. I actually do think that he will get a chance, but I don't know if it'll last long.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, no,
can it last long if he plays the way he's been playing?
No,
it just can't.
No.
He is costing them points. If it wasn't for De Gea, they would literally been.
Okay.
The other thing with Harry Maguire is for Ten Hag. Ten Hag tends to quite like small centre backs, good on the ball.
Daley Blind
and Timber. Maguire's complete opposite.
Yeah, the Ligt as well. Not actually, he's fairly big.
He's bigger than the other two.
Yeah, he's not that big.
He's not what you'd call an imposing centre back.
Whereas Maguire's there to be winning headers, clearing the ball from the box. But he's meant to be good at driving forward, but he's just been so poor.
Who should they go for to replace Harry Maguire then?
I think you have to look at Ajax. I think you have to
look
at Timber.
They probably will look at Timber. Yeah.
I think you have to look at Timber.
That may be at their own detriment though, because there could be
are they just going to come to Ajax?
Yeah, the physicality of the Premier League.
Yeah,
you need a big centre half.
Yeah, because if you look at all
if
you look at the top teams and that as well, you look at your Liverpool's, you've got obviously Van Dijk, you've got Matip, you've got Konate, you've got Man City, you've got Ruben Dias, you've got
Laporte,
yeah.
Stones.
And
They're all big. They're
yeah.
all big. They're not.
Chelsea as well. You've got Rudiger. You've got Thiago Silva.
Thiago Silva's a little smaller.
Thiago Silva's 6 foot.
Yeah, but he's quite imposing when you look.
I think his thing is how good he is at reading the game.
Yeah.
I think is one of those players. But anyway, that's my flop of the season. Harry Maguire. Aaron, do you want to go next?
I've speaking as a Chelsea fan, it has to be Lukaku. It has to be for all the hype that he got brought in with, and for one thing, that interview that he gave basically when he joined Chelsea, pretty much admitting that he wants to go back to Inter Milan, like what sort of favours does that do you? Chelsea have bought you for what was it, like 90-100 million pounds,
something like that,
and you've been brought in to try and be the focal point of a Chelsea attack. Yeah, surely the right sort of mentality to be would be, right, I've had my opportunity in the Premier League, I had my opportunity at Everton, and I did well. I went to Man United, it didn't work out, okay.
He played alright at Man United.
Yeah, he played okay at Man United, of course, yeah. But then obviously it ended up not working out in the end. Okay, that's fine. So that sort of gives you that sort of fire with some point to prove. He goes to Inter Milan, he has a fantastic season over there at Inter Milan, and then gets his big chance to move back to the Premier League with Chelsea. And I think if you're a player in Lukaku's position, like the motivation that you should have to prove a point in the Premier League, because there's good. I think it's because the Premier League is one of the most heavily broadcasted leagues in the world. It's the most global league in the world, you'd imagine. And the scrutiny that you get from people, not just in the UK, like Scotland, England, that as well, but worldwide that as well, because the Premier League is such a worldwide fan base. And Chelsea is one of those clubs with that big worldwide fan base. The scrutiny on Lukaku is so much bigger than it would be at Inter Milan. And to basically say that I want to go back to Inter Milan, I prefer Inter Milan, is just practically admitting that you couldn't handle the pressure. And his stats this season have proved that no, he can handle the pressure at this point in time.
I think he also just liked the lifestyle and that better. And because the media is as harsh in the Premier League, it just didn't suit him. Yeah,
at the same time though, why would you say, like, obviously I don't want to quit. I don't want to sit here and pretend I'm an expert on Romelu Lukaku. I don't know the man. I don't know what his state of mind when he was joining Chelsea was from Inter Milan. But see, if you prefer Inter Milan and you don't want to be in a league where the media scrutiny is, why take the move other than money? Like, because
you just answered it, money.
Like, yeah, I know I can't answer my own question, but like at what point does that money not become worth it?
I think a big part of it was, I remember back when he did sign, a big part of it was, he's gonna be like Drogba. There was pictures of him with Drogba and stuff like that. He's gonna be our new Drogba. He's coming back to us. He's been at us before, and all that kind of stuff. I think that probably enticed him in as well.
Yeah, of course.
And then he didn't hit he came in. He didn't really hit the ground running. He then had that interview. Couldn't get in the team, understandably. He's been poor. The price tag is massive. Chelsea fans understandably upset with it all, and yeah, I think flop of the season for Lukaku is a fairly good shout.
Yeah, fairly solid shout. Heggy, you want to go with your flop of the season?
So my flop of the season is also Lukaku.
Yeah.
I just think the numbers he was producing in Italy, you just expected big things from Lukaku, especially in this Chelsea team with Mount setting him up, Werner playing off him, Havertz behind them as well. Just looked like it was a good setup for him to get a lot of goals, and he's just not produced.
And obviously,
it's the system that plays well with how obviously at the start is Chilwell and James playing in the wing back position. They're getting out into these wing positions, putting balls in. You thought it would suit him.
Yeah,
he played in a
three at the back
at Inter. And I thought it was going to make sense, and yet having a player play off him like Martinez used to do, he just didn't have that connection with anyone at Chelsea.
No. The most telling point for me, I think, for Lukaku this season was when they dropped him at centre forward for Kai Havertz.
Not even a centre forward.
Not a centre forward. He was
meant to play off him. That's what he was meant to do.
I think there is other shouts for flop of the season. You can say like Sancho.
Oh yeah.
People thought he was going to be
a
world beater, but at least Man United have got minutes out of him.
Yeah.
Same with Maguire.
Also, the Premier
Chelsea haven't got minutes.
The Premier League gets some getting used. That's a getting used to.
Lukaku has been playing in the Premier.
Yeah, and that's why I think I completely agree with that. That's a good shout for
I think next season for Sancho is going to be interesting because he was the big sort of Bundesliga to Premier League signing, but now that Haaland's at Manchester City across the city, he has to be able to produce under Ten Hag to not be outshadowed in a Borussia Dortmund team that he was a big part of as well. Like, let's not forget.
Do you think Man City fans will be worried that Haaland won't produce because looking at Sancho, when he get the 2020 season, and then he's came to the Prem and he's not even got 5'5"?
I don't know. I think with Haaland, I think he just looks like he's built for the Premier League already.
Yeah.
I think the only worry with Haaland is, does he get a long injury?
Yeah.
That's probably their biggest worry, and if that could happen. In the Premier League, it's much more physical league than the Bundesliga is.
I would agree,
but we'll have to see.
But I don't agree for this season because of what we said earlier. Norway aren't at the World Cup. He's going to have a 1 month
He'll have a rest, but he could still get injured at any point in the season. That's why I just think that could happen, but we'll never know. We'll have to wait and see.
Also, I don't think Haaland has the issue that maybe Sancho and I'm like lots of young players have. Like, Haaland is a mentality machine.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like the kind of player that nothing phases him at all.
Yeah.
Like, and I think he will be. I think he'll be more than ready for the scrutiny that's about to come his way in the Premier League. I think he'll just bat it away. I think he'll do good big things.
Interesting to see if he does clash with a Pep. Pep has struggled in the past to, have players with big egos. And I mean, I've said this before. I thought he had quite a similar personality to an Ibra, who didn't work out at Pep's Barcelona. But I just feel like I feel like Pep's now he's been through his career. I don't feel like he's been made. He must know something. He must have had some conversation with Haaland that he's got it all sorted out, and he's just too good a player. I think he's too good to fail, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we'd like to hope that. Let's hope we're not talking about Erling Braut Haaland. But at this point, next season when we're doing this again.
Yeah.
So what are we going for now?
We're going for
surprise player of the season. So a player that has surprised us. That could be.
I'll start this
in a positive way.
Or negative.
Or negative way.
I guess or negative, but I think
Because we did flop, I went for a positive.
I went for a positive.
Me, I went positive too.
Yeah.
Right, my surprise player of the season, Christian Eriksen.
Okay.
I think no one expected him to be this good coming back from what happened, especially so soon.
I get that, yeah. I felt like I was more surprised though that he came back. That's what I thought was the surprise with him. I get it. Okay.
Brentford just look a completely different team since Eriksen's come in. Yeah. He's just so creative. That game against Chelsea as well, it was just unplayable. The 4-1 at Stamford Bridge. It was just absolutely delightful to watch, and it's just heartwarming as well to see him play as well.
It's just one of those stories that everyone in the league is universally loved, and I think everyone in football is universally loved, and for a fantastic reason as well. Like, Christian Eriksen's been amazing. Like,
just an unbelievable footballer as well. Really just got all the technical ability in the world, so two-footed.
You saw how he actually improved Tony. Tony had a good back end of the season because of him.
Yeah.
A big part of it was because of him. Even Tony said about it.
Brentford finished high up in the table.
Like they were 11th or 12th.
Yeah, 11th, yeah.
Like
but they were expected to go straight back down.
They were good.
People were predicting 17th, 18th for Brentford. But yeah, I just think Eriksen's had an unbelievable season for what happened to him. Also, he had a good season, not taking that into account as well. But when you take that into account, it's just been so good, I think.
That's a nice,
very nice touch. Yeah, of course.
Hagen, you got
so this is where I kind of said earlier on to you guys that as well, that this was this was the pick where I thought I would have two of the same. Eriksen is on my list for later on, but I haven't gone for him for this one because I just didn't think like it would be fair. Like, I love Christian Eriksen so much. I think he's a fantastic footballer, and he was very high up in my choice for this list. But my surprise star for this year has been Jared Bowen. Just his rise at West Ham.
Very good shout.
Like, because let's be honest, last season, who had heard of him? Like I don't mean this.
No, it was playing okay.
I thought
it was playing all right.
Aye, nowhere near this level though.
But yeah, under Moyes this season, and in that system that West Ham has, he has thrived, and I think he is dead. If England do not start him at the World Cup, and I know he's uncapped, and I know everybody's going to say, oh, he's untested, he's uncapped, he's not like been proven at this level. He's just dragged a West Ham team to like 7th in that as well, up in the league in that too. So like.
Especially in the second part of the season when Antonio did nothing.
Exactly. Like him and Rice pretty much carried.
They were the two key men for that West Ham side. I mean,
he's still quite young.
24.
Yeah, exactly. So he's only just hitting his prime and his position as well. He's starting to get to that stage, and he will be crucial.
Do you think he gets a move somewhere
It
else?
suits Liverpool so much, but I
Think so?
just don't see him going there personally because they've got far too many players in those positions.
I think maybe
I'm trying to think.
or Chelsea maybe.
I just don't see it.
I'm trying to think.
Even Spurs. No, I think Kulusevski now.
Man United.
Man United. Nah,
My
not with Sancho on the right though.
I was going to say, if I was Man United right now, I would have Bono for Sancho.
It would suit City as well. It would suit City and Liverpool,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's that good yet.
No, another season to
yeah.
see how he does again.
If I was him, I would stay at West
Yeah,
Ham.
yeah, I think
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
aye.
definitely.
Too right. Yeah.
Yeah. My surprise player of the season, I've gone for a player that I've not actually mentioned at all in the two podcasts, Joe Linton.
Mm-hmm.
Another brilliant.
That is a
shout.
fantastic shout. Like,
I mean,
He
he surprised everyone by moving from a striker
Yeah.
into centre mid. He's like a centre mid that goes about the pitch breaking up the play. It's crazy to me that he's done what he's done. He's also Eddie Howe coming in, switching him to that centre mid role. He's been such a big part of Newcastle's turnaround this season. Newcastle were destined for relegation, and of course the money helps. You know, a few other players like a Bruno Gomes coming in, Trippier coming in, even Chris Wood, Dan Burn, some good signings. But Joe Linton's probably
Been
up
the
there.
star.
It's probably up there with one of the stars this season. I mean, to play centre mid, he was a striker. He was terrible.
He was
He
terrible.
was terrible last season.
it's almost as if good man management actually gets you somewhere in that as well, because obviously, you know, personally, obviously, Eddie Howe coming into Newcastle realistically should have been a Celtic this season, but we're not going to talk about that in this particular podcast. But no, I'm 100% inclined to agree with that. Joe Linton has been a fantastic player for Newcastle this season. Like, to have the transformation from a striker that didn't do anything to, I'm gonna say this, probably one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the league.
It probably was during the season.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's been remarkable, and obviously Newcastle as well had a couple of decent shouts for a few others in these awards and that as well. Like signing this season, I would have ranked a couple of Newcastle signings really quite highly on this. But
The thing with Jordan that really fries my brain is, did he play centre mid somewhere else? Because I'd never heard of him playing centre mid.
No.
Like, is Eddie Howe just come into training and saw him playing and go, you would suit being a centre mid?
No.
Or has Jordan went to Eddie Howe and said, I've played centre mid before, maybe let's try that.
That's a
if Eddie Howe has seen that and seen that is a managerial masterclass.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's
100%.
crazy, absolutely crazy. But anyway,
That was a good shout.
I'll move on to signing of the season.
Yep.
Signing of the season. Now, I had quite a few picks for this. I do have a winner. All of them came in January, and I know we were saying how Kulusevski couldn't make it because of into his young play of the season, because of it's only been half a season. It's a signing of the season.
Yeah.
And these four players all changed their team's fortunes in a big way. But I'm sure you guys. I'm gonna leave the other selections and just pick my winner. And my winner's Diaz for Liverpool.
Oh, Luis Diaz.
Completely that's the difference. Man City didn't make any signings in January. Liverpool did. Liverpool were so far off. They were 14 points off at one point, and that making a signing, it showed. He was so good. I think he's been so good. Diaz.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is sort of a general point. Where did Luis Diaz come from? Was he the one that they tried to sign from Liverpool from Fulham at the start of the season, and then Carvalho? Okay, fair
Luis
enough.
Diaz came from Porto.
Porto. Okay, fair enough. No, because I always get those two. I always get those signings confused. I knew Liverpool tried to sign someone from Fulham. Obviously, it's Carvalho at the start of the season, but it couldn't get through in time. So I thought that was the case. But yeah,
I'll hold my hands up. I was the first to criticise the Luis Diaz sign when it happened. I said I didn't think Liverpool should do it. I thought coming from the Portuguese league there was a lot of risk because it's just not as good as the Premier League. I thought there was so many better options that they could have signed, like Jared Bowen. And I even said at the time I thought Coutinho would have been a better signing. But
good shout.
That was a good shout for signing the season too.
But it just has been unbelievable.
He has been. I think.
And it's going to get better.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's just. I think people just thought because they're signing him now. That it was a fairly hefty, but it wasn't too much. Was it 40?
Was it not like 40, 47, 48 million?
They were kind of Liverpool don't waste money.
Yeah.
They don't tend to waste money under Klopp's managerial.
I have noticed that Liverpool are so quiet in transfer windows.
I think
as well. So
they were forced into it because Spurs were going to sign him. That's who they were going to get, I think, instead of Kulusevski. And so they pounced then. They knew we're not going to wait till the summer. We'll get him now. It definitely helped out. Obviously, they fell short in the end. They didn't manage to quite get it, quite pit Man City to it. They definitely had a better transfer window in that regard.
Well, I'll jump in because I also had Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
Everything you've said, plus I think he will get better.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be Liverpool's star man if they keep him.
I think so. I think he's
taking that left hand side because Mane's probably going to buy him. Salah's, he's not going to get any better. He's at his prime.
Yeah.
Diaz will take over as the main man at Liverpool.
I think so too.
Yeah, of course.
It just reminds me so much of Neymar the way he plays.
Oh yeah, that wee touch.
Yeah,
just excellent.
It's close ball control for Liverpool this season has been.
He's so aggressive as well.
He reminds me of an Alexis Sanchez or even a Luis Suarez, where he's a wee terrier. He's a wee terrier though. Yeah. He's sprinting about. It's like, I think it was the clip of him.
Running from right wing to the.
Oh no! What he does is he's against Spurs. He takes a shot. The ball he's coming from the left hand side. He takes a shot, and then the goalkeeper parries it out to the right wing, and he's sprinting. He's nowhere. He should not be winning that ball, and he's still going after taking a shot. A fairly powerful shot as well to be able to get it punched out that far. And he wins the ball, and he keeps ball at the and he's perfect for Klopp.
He's perfect
for their system. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, Diaz for both of us. Aaron, what do you got?
Okay, so few options for this. Totally concur with your points on Luis Diaz, Gomares, Newcastle, Trippier, Newcastle as well. But this is the point where I've got to give props to Christian Eriksen for Brentford. Like that
was my number 2.
This is the point where I'm gonna wax lyrical. So Brentford fans, if you've been waiting for me to wax lyrical about Christian Eriksen, I'm gonna wax lyrical about Christian Eriksen. I just pretty much picking up on a lot of the points that you guys said in your surprise of the season. He had no right to be as good as he was, considering what he's been through and that as well, and considering what his family's been through. And I think he's found a spot in Brentford where everyone loves him, and
I think he's going to stay as well.
I think everyone in the league loves him, not just Brentford.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's just such a nice
when he scores against rival teams, they don't actually care as much. It's like, oh, it's Eriksen.
I think it was the
you can't boo Eriksen that as well.
The clip of Brandon Williams
tried to
scrap and realised who it was. It's like, oh, and he gives him a hug. Is
it bad? I could just imagine like there's Premier League fans that as well that were playing against Brentford. Or Brentford's going, oh, for fuck's sake, it was Christian Eriksen. It's okay, fair enough. But he's to be even remotely close to where he was at Tottenham for Brentford has been remarkable. And to be honest for him, I hope he stays at Brentford. Obviously, I know Spurs have been potentially looking at getting him back, and I think him under Conte where he was at Inter, I think that would really suit him. But I think they kind of mentioned on Sunday when Brentford played Leeds is that the area that he was with Brentford is got quite a big Danish population, so I think that was something that was going to go in their favour to potentially keep them. But wherever he goes, I think he'll continue to be a really, really good. Okay, so moving on to our surprise team of the season for the next part of the awards, and I think in this regard, there's two main options really for.
Well, especially if we're doing negative.
Yeah, especially
if we're doing it on a negative, that's what I think we're doing, because we've been quite nice with a lot of these awards. It's only really been flop of the season. It's been a negative that we've done it. Heggie, do you want to take us away with your one?
Surprise team this season for me is Man United. I think they've just been an absolute shambles this season, from beginning to end. Maguire been terrible, Pogba terrible, Rashford, Sancho both been an absolute shambles as well. Just an absolute shambles of a season. People thought it was going to be a 14 title race between Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United. Obviously, the top 3 finished the way it did. Manchester United finished in 6th. Just not good enough whatsoever.
Could have been 7th.
Yeah.
Could have been 7th.
Should have been 7th.
Should have been 7th, I think. West Ham, obviously Brighton were the one that did the favours.
Yeah.
Man United, it's been strange. It's been a shocking season. It's not expected. I did expect them to do a lot better. I mean, the signings they did make. I mean, Varane, Champions League Varane, come on.
Champions League Varane.
By the way, he's been terrible. He's been pretty bad as well.
Yeah.
I think it's not just been down to Maguire at the back. I think whoever's come in's been pretty poor in that system.
They've
But
had
also,
3 managers as well.
oh yeah.
They've had Solskjaer, Carrick and Rangnick.
Carrick has the best win record, doesn't he?
Yeah. They thought Rangnick was going to come in and be the master.
Saviour.
Yeah.
Aye,
I mean, he'll be the one that will go upstairs, which I think that's what Man United fans were a little more excited about. But they also were excited about the fact that he'd come in and be the manager, and he has to be better than Ollie. But
another player as well, Bruno, just nowhere near the standard he was last year.
He set really high standards for himself, but even still, he's been terrible. He has been terrible.
Yeah.
And of course, and that's not even forgetting that they've launched from PR disaster to PR disaster this season. It has been an absolute shambolic season for Man United.
Even it hurts to say, McTominay has been utterly dreadful this
he's
season as well.
Which is funny because even beforehand, when you look at the goals he was scoring for Scotland, like the international and that as well,
He's been playing very well for Scotland.
He actually plays more of a centre half though.
Right centre back, but did Man United not try him at centre back a few games? I'm pretty sure they did.
Now done, but if he plays in a back three when it's with Scotland, which suits him probably
another
more.
Player as well, Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, well, I think he's
away.
He's gone. Like
50 million man, just cutting the losses.
We're getting back to Palace.
Yeah.
Palace would take him.
I think Palace would 100% take him.
He just didn't suit Manchester United's play. He's a defensive right back.
Yeah. And Harry Maguire looks like a defensive centre back. That's the thing we meet with him. And people say he's meant to be a good ball playing centre half, driving forward.
Well, I was going to say, what they've been watching.
Lindelof's a better ball playing centre half.
Exactly.
Varane isn't a ball player either. At Real Madrid, they had Ramos next to him.
Anyone looks good with Ramos. It's like putting someone next to Van Dijk. Lovren looks good.
Yeah.
You know, Ramos is the same, and that's what Varane I think fell into that category as well.
So who's your
my surprise for the season? I mean, I've been absolutely shocked by how bad Everton have been.
Yeah.
Like
one of the highest net spends in the league.
Over the last it's not just over the last season or so, but the last like 5 seasons or so. But they've been terrible, and they managed to escape with this by the skin of their teeth. Very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Very, very lucky. And I mean, you've got to say fair play to Frank Lampard, because he was getting people are saying he's never been in this position before. He's gonna not get them out of this relegation fight, and he has got them out. And I think a big part of that has been because of Burnley's mistake in getting rid of Deitch. I think that was a mistake. And that's probably helped them big time.
Everton have been flop of the season and also embarrassment of the season.
Especially
if there was an embarrassment award that would go to Richarlison. Embarrassment of a player, especially what he did yesterday with the Thierry Henry gif on Twitter to Liverpool.
Oh God!
You finished 16th.
I know.
What are you doing?
You finished 14 places below Liverpool.
Yeah.
Like, he probably will go down as this season's most hated player by the majority of fans. Everton fans will hate that.
Everton fans love Richarlison.
Of course they do. Don't get me wrong. I think if you're an Everton fan, he's one of those players that you love. But if you are not a fan, you hate him. And that can be a good thing. When you're 16, you cannot be.
I'm not a fan of any English Premier League team. I'm just a complete neutral. And Richarlison is one of the biggest embarrassments at any club. He is touted to be world class. Everton fans were saying he's going to be unbelievable when he's.
Was he not
he's
like
a good
with
player?
He's celebrating finishing 16th.
Like you can, you can celebrate. No, you can celebrate with a bit of relief and all that.
Yeah,
but don't start trying to mock teams that are finishing second with 92 points when you've not even got half of that.
Exactly. When you're barely scraping a third of that. I mean, obviously, I can't talk. I like Leeds United and that as well. So, but like at the same time, at least Leeds United celebrations were of genuine relief of just staying up and that.
Did you finish ahead of them?
No,
we were 17th. Yeah, 17th. Leeds were 17th.
But no, it's a big surprise. They are a massive surprise at how bad they did this season.
Especially last season, Calvert-Lewin was playing really well. This season just did nothing.
Well, he was injured for large parts. Another big thing was with Rafa Benitez being appointed. A Liverpool legend. Everton fans made it quite clear they did not want him. He then ends up getting sacked inevitably, bringing in Frank Lampard. You thought that's an odd one.
It's a bold call.
Very, very bold. And fair play to him. I like Frank Lampard, I do. He's the one thing I've got to say. The one redeeming quality about that club at the moment is Frank Lampard. I do actually quite like him.
Yeah.
Good guy. And I think he's a good manager. He's not an excellent manager. I don't think he has the potential to be one of the top managers.
Everton's his level. 16th is his level.
Yeah, like for now anyway, that's for sure.
At this current moment. Remember when he was Chelsea manager once upon a time?
Yeah, it wasn't even dreadful at Chelsea, but he just didn't achieve what Chelsea wanted him to achieve.
Chelsea do love firing their managers, so you've
Yeah.
got to really. And if they're firing, it really does show when they're firing a club legend like Frank Lampard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, Everton.
Yeah.
Surprise and disgrace
Of the season.
But if you're an Everton fan, I'm sure you're pretty relieved that he's managed to stay up for another season.
Well done, guys. You celebrated having 70 less points than Liverpool. Well done.
So, who's your surprise team?
Okay, so I'm going to take it back to a bit more positivity in that as well.
Okay,
Because we've had
absolutely battled two teams.
exactly, we've just slated two
You
teams.
can tell we don't like Everton.
Or Man United. But I'm going to bring it back to a bit of positivity. I'm going to say Brighton for me. I think.
Okay.
But I wouldn't shout.
Good shout.
Yeah, like the Graham Potter has just made them just a solid team to play against that as well, because we've seen it against these supposed bigger teams and bigger teams. Man United scalped them 4-0. Manchester City, they were in for a lot of the game against Man City. It was only like a couple of bits of really good quality that City have that unlocked Brighton. And I get performances against the teams around them this season have generally been really, really good, because when you think of a team like Brighton, obviously, you know, barring a Leicester City style miracle, they're not going to be competing for the top honours.
Well, last season they finished 15th.
Exactly.
This season 9th. It's a big improvement.
Massive improvement, exactly. But you'd like to think that obviously with Graham Potter, who I rate Graham Potter really, really high as a manager. Yeah. And, you know, they've had players like Cucurella, they've had players like, obviously, their goalkeeper this season, Sanchez, fantastic season he's had. Shane Duffy before he went missing in action. All seriousness, I thought when he played solidly in that as well.
I don't even think Brighton's team's that good.
No,
I think Potter is seriously overachieving with that team.
It's Potter.
He's got Welbeck up front and he's producing. Mopey doesn't really play anymore.
No.
Mopey, who else do they have? They've got Trossard, who's a decent player. They've got Gross, who's alright. Cucurella is their standout player.
But to finish ninth with that team,
it's really impressive.
You kind of had signs of this. Again, I'm going to bring back in XG. With last season, they really underachieved based on the XG, the expected XG they were meant to have. This season, it's kind of.
I also think they did underachieve this year on the XG. I saw the table today.
I think they did actually. This year they had. Did they?
I think they're still slightly underachieved.
No.
But it was a lot closer.
Well, they are a good side. Again, as an Arsenal fan, they're one of those teams I don't like playing. They're in there with a Palace. I don't like playing them. There's a few teams there, and it's the way that they're able to press the ball, and they've caused some of the top teams problems. Serious problems. Chelsea, they beat. I think they struggled. Did Man City or Liverpool struggle against them?
Liverpool, did they not win 1-0 against them? Remember, Sanchez ran into Diaz and Diaz scored and it stopped the red card.
Even still, that was a game that Liverpool were worried about.
Yeah.
You're worried about playing Brighton.
I think it was either 1-0 or 2-1, I'm not sure.
It's a massive part of that down to Graham Potter.
The thing is with Brighton in that as well, technically compared to even some of the teams around them, like a Palace and that as well, they don't have the standout talent like Palace do, like a Saha or an Eze or an everything else like that. But what they do have is a belief and an ability to play for Graham Potter, because those players play for Graham Potter 100%. You can tell that they just want to, they know they're not going to be you never know. Leicester City has proven that anything can really happen in the Premier League. But obviously, this isn't me doing a prediction for 22-23 that Brighton are going to win the Premier League, but
hopefully they can invest more.
Exactly,
they're probably losing a lot of their players.
And if Cucurella goes for the 25 or 30 million that it's rumoured that he's going to be going to Manchester City for, hopefully they can then use that to improve their squad.
If I'm a Brighton fan, I'm pretty happy. I'm trusting Potter gets the right men in. I really would be, but
I think that's a good transition into manager.
I think you're correct. Manager of the year
is Graham Potter.
Very good shout.
Very good shout. Yeah.
What we just said.
Well, like, for the
what we
reasons we've just described, aye.
Well,
like,
I mean,
exactly.
he's doing such a great job. You don't think that there is that many standout players for Brighton.
And it wasn't even in the nominations, was it, for manager of the
That
year?
was weird for me, that as well.
I'm not sure.
Well, obviously,
I think it was Vieira, Klopp,
Yeah.
Guardiola, Eddie Howe.
The Brentford manager maybe.
Yeah,
Did
Thomas Frank.
Bruno Lage get a shout?
I'm not sure.
No.
I don't. Graham Potter wasn't in the
Yeah.
nominations.
Aye, well, no, I think Graham Potter's a very good shout.
Aye.
If we're trying to avoid the Pep Klopp,
The Pep Klopp loving.
it's like, yeah, obviously they're better managers, but look at the team. I mean,
Look at the teams.
it's
they've
so
got.
difficult to give it to one
I think
instead of the other.
there's a
you know
lot
what I
of
mean?
good shouts for manager. of
Yeah,
the
I
year
think there
this
is.
year.
I think
I
there
think
is.
Vieira's a good shout. I think Conte's a good shout.
Talking about Vieira, that's who my manager of the season is.
Ah.
I think for me, this one is no one expected it. They were one of the teams everyone was expecting to go down. They had something like 16 players shipped out in the summer. They lost 16 players. And that is crazy. The team he has built, a young team as well, with pressing. Again, similar to Brighton, the top teams are the teams that they were struggling. Struggled against them. They were beating them. They took what? What
They
did they
took
take?
3 points off Arsenal.
Took
at home.
6 off City.
They
took
took
6
four.
off
No,
City.
they
Or was
took.
it 4?
They definitely didn't. City and Liverpool didn't beat them. I don't think.
Yeah. They took
I'm
more
not sure.
points than they got taken against them against most of the top sides.
Yeah, I think their struggle was, and the reason they didn't finish as high up is, well, yeah, they obviously
They weren't beating the
they were.
teams
It
that
wasn't
were
because they were
at
beating.
level.
It was the draw. They had too many draws. They had
Yeah.
15 draws. Like they had far too many draws. But I think the fact that manager of the season, Vieira, coming in, everyone thinking he wasn't going to do what he did. Do what they did. He thought we were going to get relegated. He's pretty unproven. He's had a run at Nice and somewhere in America. He was at. And
I think the biggest thing that he had before, obviously doing Nice and that as well, was obviously being an understudy to Pep at Manchester City. So
I know he's.
The only one thing I wish he did better this season was kick that Everton fan harder.
I think so too. Yeah.
Oh, that
I
was
think
a
Kick
disgrace.
Richarlison actually.
Aye,
If
aye.
we're honest about it,
That-
that would be even better.
This podcast does not have an anti-Richarlison agenda, except I absolutely does.
But no, Vieira, it's just it's more he's been the surprise manager of the season for me. I didn't expect him to do what he did. I think Eddie Howe is another one. I think he's done a fantastic job.
Mhm.
I get the Graham Potter shout. I think Bruno Lage would have been my shout until the
fell off
last
a wee
month
bit,
or
yeah.
so. He's really fell off, and they've dropped out of the Conference League places and stuff like that. And people are talking about them getting top 4 at one point.
Jane David Moyes is also a good shout.
Ah, yeah, it's a good shout, yeah. But I think, yeah.
I
I think there's a few managers
Yeah.
ahead of him. That's I think for me that's my manager of the season.
How about
Adam,
you,
what about
Adam?
you?
Yep, so I'm going to be very, very boring. I'm going to be very, very boring. Obviously, you guys have picked obviously Vieira and Potter. I've just gone Pep because I think what sealed it for me, because in my mind when I was deciding like who I wanted for this award, it was obviously between Pep and Klopp for me.
Mhm.
But the last day for me, like the mentality that Pep put into those
It's the
players,
subs.
especially when
the subs he made.
and the subs he made as well, of course.
Did you hear what he said after the game to
No.
the Sky?
What did he
He
say?
said, next year you're allowed 5 subs, so you're really going to finally see my genius.
That was amazing. I love that. I love that so much. But I like, because look at that situation. You're 2-0 down to Aston Villa. You don't like. Let's be honest. How much attention do they really pay to what's going on at Anfield? They like. I imagine that they would know that Liverpool at that time were drawn against Wolves.
Yeah.
Right, but. At that point, obviously, they'd have won the league on goal difference anyway, but they'd have known that, like, 1 goal for Liverpool, and they ended up getting 2 eventually. Like, that would have put the title to Anfield.
Well,
So-
Callum said the subs were the goals.
Yeah,
Gundogan scored 2.
Yeah.
Good.
Sterling set up at least 1. I
Yeah.
can't remember who set up Rodri.
I think it was De Bruyne really
But
also came into his own. He was the one that he was the driving force. He set up Rodri, and he was also the one that burst forward and set up Gundogan at the back post.
I think
I think Sterling did get the other assist though.
the key point for that for me, but is that doesn't happen without a manager that is willing to instill a win at all cost mentality.
Yeah.
It would have been so easy for teams to say, right, we're 2-0 down. Like, what can we do? But Pep must have told them in that dressing room, we're fucking winning this. I don't care how we have to fucking do it. We're gonna win this.
Yeah.
And they go on and they win it. They score 3 goals in 5 minutes, which
Well,
is
when Coutinho scored, it looked done and dusted.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
when Aston Villa went 2-0 up, every single. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say this. I think every single person in England was looking at Anfield and saying, like, when they score.
Yeah.
Because when Liverpool score, that's going to be the goal.
That's what Jamie Redknapp said at half time. He said, this game here is the only one that really matters because Liverpool will score in the second half at the Kop end.
Yeah, no,
they
were
are going to win.
Yeah,
it's
they'll
just
do that.
how will Man City deal with the scrutiny that they're under? And that was only a 1-0.
Yeah.
Never mind 2-0 with 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, exactly. But then Pep has obviously been into those players and said, we are winning this. I don't care how we're doing it, we are winning this. Gundogan, you're on.
Yeah.
Like, Gundogan, go on, do what you need to do.
He made the first sub at half time. He made was Zinchenko on for Fernandinho. That is just an attacking sub straight away.
Definitely.
But it's what can you say about Pep, and that hasn't really been said by a couple hundred football journalists as well. He is, in my opinion, possibly the best coach in the world right now. And yes,
best coach, I'd say for sure.
But exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
And obviously he's going to have Erling Haaland to play with next season, and that's going to be crazy. I'm really struggling to see next season who. Obviously, you look at Liverpool. Of course, Jurgen Klopp. You can
The
never.
thing with Liverpool is the season before, whenever they get one bad injury, they're just done. They need certain players to play. Man City do not need anyone to play. They don't rely heavily on one particular player.
They have rotation options out the wazoo.
Their best player, De Bruyne, if he goes off, Gundogan can come in.
Aye. Well, I know Liverpool have improved on that this season. I think massively. There's certain players. If a Van Dijk goes out for a long time, if a Salah does go out for a long time, it's those two.
Yeah, what I'm particularly saying there is if Van Dijk gets injured again, because Van Dijk just makes whoever looks next to him. It just makes them look world class. Even if they aren't.
But Diaz is getting compared to Van Dijk. It's just it is night and day if I'm honest. Diaz, Van Dijk compared. And if Diaz goes missing,
you've got Laporte.
It's not as big a problem as I think Liverpool would have.
And also, if you look
at the high line they play as well, he's so key to that.
Yeah.
If you look at that and that as well, obviously they might not have him next season, but if Foden went out, they could have pulled on Gabriel Jesus, played Sterling, exactly. Yeah. So it's Pep's rotation options is a big part, I feel.
And there's 5 subs next season.
And there's 5. Yeah. So you'll really see his genius, guys. You'll really see his genius.
Anyway, are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. So that was our Premier League Awards, the second part of this little podcast that we're doing. If you've enjoyed it, guys, feel free to leave a like and a subscribe. If you want to leave your own picks for these awards down in the comments, absolutely do so.
Or suggestions for other videos.
Yeah, exactly. We're fully taking suggestions and that as well. So if you want us to talk about things that maybe aren't football, if you maybe want to talk about other sports, there's plenty of other sports that me and the guys could absolutely talk about, probably for a good 2 hours and that as well, so that would be fun. Even just general sort of topics and that as well, please feel free to let us know. We'd like to hear what you want to hear from us. And if you have got any final closing quotes,
thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next one.